performance of mutual funds. And just to give you a quick recap of how we are evaluating the performance of mutual funds, the first method was to calculate the NAV of the fund, the net asset value of the fund. Now, when we talk about security analysis, portfolio management, which is the subject you are studying, it is very important that post the investment, you keep analyzing, you keep evaluating the performance of the investment made so that as and when the need arises, you can revise your portfolio. So, when you are investing in mutual funds, the first measure to evaluate that performance is to calculate the NAV of the mutual fund, which was basically the assets held under the mutual fund minus the outstanding liabilities divided by the number of units held or issued by the under the mutual fund scheme. And this gives you the market value of your holding, that is, if today you exit from this mutual fund scheme, how much money can you get when you sell the units held by you? The second measure was calculation of the percentage return from the mutual fund. Percentage return in the sense that for the period you are holding on to your investment, what is the return you are earning during that holding period. So this was calculated as the appreciation you have earned in terms of the NAV over the base value plus any capital gains you have received under the mutual fund scheme or any dividends you have received, dividends or interest depending on कि आप डेट वाले पोर्टफोलियो में इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो या फिर आप इक्विटी में इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो, देन यू इफ यू आर इन्वेस्टिंग इन डेट, maybe your mutual fund is giving you some interest return, and if it is more of a equity portfolio, then on equity shares they might be receiving the dividend which might be passed on to the investor. So the percentage return. And the third analysis was from the cost side. So if the cost is reduced, then also the return to the mutual fund holder will increase. So we calculated the expense ratio, and lower the ratio, better it is for the investor. Now we come to the fourth technique of evaluating the performance, and under this sorry, we cover the risk adjusted measures. Risk adjusted measures of portfolio performance. So it's not only applicable to mutual funds, but if you are holding a portfolio of securities, then you can apply these same measures. So under this, we have three measures which we'll be doing today: the Sharpe ratio, Trainer ratio, and the Jensen ratio. Okay, so before I introduce these ratios to you, I'll give you an overview of the risk and the types of risk. Now, when we evaluate an investment, it is always from the perspective of the risk involved and the expected return. Simply speaking, risk is the variability in the expected return, or when your actual return varies from the return you expected, we say that risk is involved in the investment. Now, talking about the causes of risk or why is risk prevalent, inherent in investment, then we can look upon a number of reasons because of which risk is inherent in every investment. So, when I talk about the sources of risk, we say that there are certain risks which are present at the macro level. Macro level here would be, say, at the economy level, and there are certain risks which are present at the micro level, and micro level here would be the firm level. तो इकोनॉमी लेवल पे जो रिस्क होंगे वो सारी फर्म्स के लिए कॉमन होंगे. So what can be examples of risk which are at the macro level? Can anyone give me any example which will be common to all the firms in the market? I'm asking what can be an example of macro level risk, something which is common to all the firms in the market. इकोनॉमी लेवल पे क्या क्या रिस्क हो सकते हैं जो आपकी इन्वेस्टमेंट को इम्पैक्ट कर सकते हैं. Okay, so yes, the economic policies of the government. So if there's change in the tax rate or the government becomes more open to FDI or something like that. So these kind of policy changes will impact each and every firm in the market. It can be in the positive sense or it can be in the negative sense, but it will impact all the firms. So yes, interest rate changes very, very important economy level factor which impacts all the firms, all the investments in the market. Exchange rates are also macro level factors which impact the firm, and a pandemic is again and it's again a very relevant now as we have seen a very relevant macro level factor. Now any environmental factor, Diva, can you elaborate? What do you exactly mean by environmental factor? Just unmute yourself. Okay, I think there's some network issue. So, environmental factor, now there might be some change in the policy with regards to, say, the pollution related activities of a firm. So the government might give guidelines as to how the waste disposal should take place for firms or say जो CPCB है, which is the Central Pollution Control Board. It might release some rules, regulations with respect to the pollution control in the industrial firms. Now, such factors will also impact the firms, the economy macro level पे as such इसका impact होगा. Then again कुछ firms पर इसका ज़्यादा impact होगा, जो प्रोडक्शन बेस्ड एक्टिविटीज में है firms उन पर ज़्यादा impact होगा, सर्विस बेस्ड पर कम होगा. बट जो सर्विस बेस्ड प्रोडक्शन एक्टिविटीज से रिलेटेड हैं, देन उन पर ज़्यादा इम्पैक्ट आएगा. तो yes, then that again some regulatory change with respect to pollution control will also be a macro level factor. On the other hand, there are certain factors which are internal to the firm and have an impact on the working of the firm. So here the examples can be your business related decisions. Okay, the kind of investments you are making, the financial structure of the firm, कितना equity है firm, कितना equity raise कर रही है, कितना debt raise कर रही है, capital structure में debt equity ratio कितना है, आपकी labor कितनी ओरिएंटेशन है लेबर की, कितना एसोसिएशन यूनियनाइजेशन है लेबर की, and if there are certain problems which you are facing with respect to strikes and all, then this is something which is impacting an individual firm, which is internal to the firm. So when we categorize the risk, we see whether the risk is a macro level risk or a micro level risk, because from the perspective of investment, a macro level risk is something that cannot be diversified. So it is non-diversifiable risk. So irrespective of the investment I am making, irrespective of the firm I am choosing for investment, a non-diversifiable risk will be present in all the securities I pick up. तो अगर जीएसटी में चेंज है, तो चाहे आप ऑटोमोबाइल इंडस्ट्री में इन्वेस्ट करो, चाहे आईटी में इन्वेस्ट करो, चाहे फार्मा में इन्वेस्ट करो, it will have an impact on all the holdings you are having in these industries. So such kind of risk is a non-diversifiable risk. So irrespective of the number of securities you hold in your portfolio, this risk cannot be eliminated, and it is known as the systematic risk. So systematic risk is the risk which is non-diversifiable. On the other hand, a firm-based risk, तो स्पेसिफिक फर्म के साथ प्रॉब्लम है, वहां पर लेबर अनरेस्ट है, उस वजह से प्रोडक्शन हॉल्ट हुई है, उसकी एक्टिविटीज पे, उसकी अर्निंग्स पे इम्पैक्ट आ रहा है. तो ऐसा रिस्क आप अवॉइड कर सकते हो बाय अवॉइडिंग दैट फर्म इन योर पोर्टफोलियो, or by diversifying, moving to more and more number of securities in your portfolio so that the risk associated with a single firm dilutes. So such risk is diversifiable. You can diversify, and this is known as the non-systematic risk. Unsystematic risk, risk that can be reduced, completely eliminated by diversification. Okay, when I say completely eliminated, to a large extent, you can reduce the level of risk by diversification. So you can diversify here. The measure of systematic risk is beta. All this we'll do in detail in the 5th unit. वहाँ पर हम टाइप्स ऑफ रिस्क मेजरमेंट जो होता है, मेथड्स जो होते हैं रिस्क मेजरमेंट के, रिटर्न के, दैट वी विल डू इन डिटेल with practical. But when I introduce the risk adjusted measures, I have to give you an overview of the categorization of risk. So I am trying to cover it as briefly as possible. So systematic risk of the market, the true measure is beta. अब बीटा की हेल्प से हम टोटल सिस्टमैटिक रिस्क कैलकुलेट करते हैं, उसका फॉर्मूला होता है, पर हम कहते हैं कि बीटा इज द मेजर ऑफ सिस्टमैटिक रिस्क इन द मार्केट which then helps us to calculate the total percentage of systematic risk. Beta is an absolute measure. There is no unit for beta. It's an absolute measure. On the other hand, your unsystematic risk, as I told you, it can be helpful when just add another. Just to signify. If I take the risk on the y-axis, I take the risk in percentage on the y-axis and the number of securities on the x-axis. Then this will be my systematic risk. So in spite of increasing the number of securities, in spite of diversification, the systematic risk remains the same, as can be seen from this straight line parallel to the x-axis. On the other hand, to depict the total risk, I will have a downward sloping curve. Now, total risk is the sum total of systematic risk plus unsystematic risk. तो जो अब आप ये difference देख रहे हो, this is nothing but the unsystematic risk of the investment, and as you see, this is falling with the increase in the number of securities. So with increased diversification, the total risk of your investment will fall. So this is how we show the relationship between risk and diversification. Okay, I hope this is clear. Let's come back to the risk adjusted measures. So I will first start with the Sharpe ratio. The Sharpe ratio is also known as the Sharpe index, or the risk to volatility ratio. So how is it measured? It is the difference between the return on the portfolio minus the risk-free return upon standard deviation. Now, standard deviation is the measure of total risk into 100. So, RP stands for return on the portfolio you are holding. माइनस RF इज द रिस्क फ्री रिटर्न। तो जो रिटर्न आपका ट्रेजरी बिल्स पे होता है या गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज पे होता है, दैट इज टर्म्ड एज रिस्क फ्री रिटर्न, divided by the total risk. Total risk, that is the sum total of systematic and unsystematic risk. It is measured by standard deviation into 100. So this ratio is giving you the risk, the return per unit of risk. What is the return you are earning? The return per unit of risk, and hence higher the ratio, better it is. So if you are comparing the Sharpe ratio for two investments, always prefer the investment which is giving you the higher Sharpe ratio, because that is giving you higher risk premium per unit of risk undertaken. So RP minus RF is actually the risk premium. So instead of investment in risk-free security, you are moving to some market-based security, a risky investment. So what is the risk premium you are getting on the investment made? And hence we compare the Sharpe ratio for alternate mutual funds, and the mutual fund which is having the higher Sharpe ratio will be preferred over the uh, mutual fund with a lower Sharpe ratio. Here we are considering the total risk of the investment as measured by beta. A second related ratio is the trainer ratio. So now the trainer ratio is also giving you the return per unit of risk taken, but the difference here is that instead of the total risk, we are taking only the systematic risk of the investment. So which is measured, as I told you, by beta. So the difference in the formula is clearly visible. Instead of total risk in the denominator, now we have the systematic risk of the investment. Now these ratios, Sharpe and trainer ratio, are not only used in ranking the portfolios or ranking the alternate mutual fund schemes which you have narrowed down on. You can also compare your mutual fund performance with the market index. So you can see whether your mutual fund in terms of return has outperformed the market or underperformed the market. तो आप क्या करते हो, आप शार्प रेशियो एक तो अपने पोर्टफोलियो की कैलकुलेट करोगे, which will be SP, Sharpe ratio of the portfolio, and then you also calculate the Sharpe ratio of the market. If the Sharpe ratio of your portfolio is greater than the Sharpe ratio of the market, so going per the rule that higher the ratio, better it is, we say that our portfolio, our mutual fund has outperformed the market. So it has given return which is higher than the average market return. Vice versa will be the case of underperformance. That is, say the market is giving a return of 10% and your investment is giving you a return of only 6%. So in that case, you have underperformed the market. Your mutual fund has underperformed the market. Okay, the concept will be more clear. We'll move to a practical question. But prior to that, if there is any question, any doubt, please ask. Is this clear? Beta is clear. Standard deviation, total risk. Okay, then I'll move to a question on calculation of Sharpe and Trainer ratio. The question is there on your screens. So we have two portfolios, S and W, and you have the market index is the you're given the market index in and the risk-free asset, and for all the four you are given the actual return in percentage, beta, that is the systematic risk, and you are also given the standard deviation of the return. Now, first part of the question is asking you to calculate the Sharpe ratio for both the portfolios S and W, and then to evaluate whether they have outperformed the market or underperformed the market. So let's start with this part. So we will need to calculate the Sharpe ratio for portfolio S, portfolio W, and you also need to calculate the Sharpe ratio for the market. Only then can we say whether the portfolio has outperformed the market or not, or underperformed the market. So the formula, so please calculate, see what is the answer coming to for the three. Okay, please make a correction. We are not multiplying the value by 100. So you are getting absolute values. 0.7 is the Sharpe ratio for portfolio S. For portfolio W, it is 0.76, and for the market index, it is 0.75. So you can clearly see that W has outperformed the market while portfolio S has underperformed the market. So by comparing their return with the market return, we can say that portfolio S has underperformed the market while portfolio W has outperformed the market. So similarly, calculate the trainer ratio in the second part. We start calculating RP minus RF upon the systematic risk beta. Okay, so the ones who are solving have got the beta, sorry, the trainer ratio for portfolio S as 12.72, for portfolio W, the trainer ratio is 10.55, and the trainer ratio for the market is 12. So here it is S that has outperformed the market while W has underperformed the market. Now class, if you observe, then the beta for the market is 1 and it is always 1. Beta is measuring to what extent your security return or portfolio return fluctuates, security return fluctuates with respect to the market. So how sensitive is the security return with respect to the market. This is measured by beta. तो अगर आप सिंगल सिक्योरिटी की बात कर रहे हो, if it has say a beta of 0.8, beta of 0.8, then what does this mean? How do you interpret it? We say that if the market return fluctuates, say the market return fluctuates by 10%, 10% अप या डाउन जाता है मार्केट, तो आपकी सिक्योरिटी का जो रिटर्न है वो 8% से इम्पैक्ट होगा. सो इफ द मार्केट इंक्रीजेस बाय 10%, योर सिक्योरिटी रिटर्न विल इंक्रीज बाय 8%. If the market return falls by 10%, your security return will fall by 8%. On the other hand, when beta is say 1.2, then this means that if the market is increasing by 10%, then your security return is increasing by 12% and vice versa. Beta can be equal to 1 also, then that means that if the market is moving by 10%, your security return is also moving by 10%. This thing can tell me, can beta for any security be negative? Can it be negative? Because here what we are seeing is a positive relation. They are moving in the same direction. So can beta of a security be negative? Yes or no? Okay, what about others? No opinion? Yes, it can be negative. So good, you people are absolutely right. Beta can be negative because we see that there are stocks which move in totally inverse direction as to the market index. Many a times there is a dip in the market, but some stocks outperform the market. तो उस केस में नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन होता है कि मार्केट डाउन जा रही है और वो स्टॉक it is showing a positive return and upward movement in the market. Okay, so yes, beta for a security can be negative also, but beta for market will always be 1. Okay, and securities which have a beta less than 1 actually are defensive stocks. They are termed as defensive stocks, while securities with beta more than 1 are known as aggressive stocks. Okay, so this was just for your information. Though this again will be covered in the 5th unit, but come back to the third part of the question, why is there a difference in the results? The reason is in the formula itself, that under the Sharpe ratio, we are considering the total risk of the market, total risk, while under the Trainer ratio, we consider only the systematic risk of the investment. So that is why we are getting completely different results for the Sharpe and the Trainer ratio. अगर मार्केट में, अगर आपकी इन्वेस्टमेंट में कुछ भी अनसिस्टमैटिक रिस्क नहीं है, if there is no unsystematic risk, then you will get the same result under the Sharpe ratio and the Trainer ratio. But otherwise, there is a possibility of variation in the result due to the manner in which we are calculating the Sharpe ratio and the trainer ratio. Okay, so we stop here.